There we go. Okay, Jungle Jordan's here. Hey, buddy. Trying to see if I've got a bunch of people requesting to join. I need Rebecca to request to join though. Rebecca, there we go. You now? Any second now. So waiting for her. Wait for it.
Hi,
Yay! There she is.
but I'm using my phone. I was trying to use my computer, but I guess I don't know. I've never used Instagram on my computer, so I have no idea how it works.
Yeah, it's very phone centric. So there's not all the things that you can get on Instagram with your phone is available for Instagram on the computer, which is not always easy. But I'm glad you joined.
I know.
It's been
Hi.
forever since I've seen you face to face in real life. How are you doing, friend?
I am doing great. I mean, all things considered, I mean, this is, a trying time, obviously, but
Yes.
but I'm good. I'm good. We're all healthy, thank God. So
Good, good. Glad to hear it. And all the family, the brothers and sisters, everyone?
everyone's good. My niece works
Good.
at the Cincinnati Zoo, and
Yes.
she had gotten this promotion, and she was so excited about it because I think she was going to be working more with the animal, like I don't know what animals, but now it's closed, so she's just going to volunteer and hopefully be able to like help out in some way. So
Well, I hope so too. And we're all hopeful that as we kind of get into June here, we'll start seeing more zoos getting the opportunity to open. So hopefully
yeah,
her zoo will as well. We'll see what happens though.
yeah.
I do want
How
to
are
cover
you?
though
What's
how
that?
I said I do want to cover so that people understand how a person like me knows a person like you and we know each other.
Okay.
I think it was what 2013 or 14 when you were on Better
Um,
TV.
yes, it was probably 2013 because I had Charlotte in 2014. So it was
Okay,
13, 14 because you
yeah,
came
so
on
it was
twice,
before
I
Charlotte.
thought, right?
What's that?
Did you come twice, I thought?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And through the process, so when Rebecca was co-hosting a show called Better TV, which is like a morning talk show there in New York, through the course of me showing up bringing animals on that program, you and I kind of got better acquainted, and I got a strong understanding that you love animals. Like
Oh,
when I go on programs, a lot of times the host is, I'm just another person on the show, or they're indifferent, or sometimes, like yourself, they're really into animals. It was so fun to talk to you and hear your like, no, I love animals.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think I told you that I was a zoology major in college. So I actually really wanted to pursue something. I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I don't think I was quite smart enough to be a veterinarian. But my father actually kind of discouraged me from it just uh, because he's like, well, I don't know how much money you're going to make. And then all of a sudden I felt like maybe I wouldn't make enough money. And in retrospect now, I wish I would have done it because it's a passion. Like I really love animals. So who cares how much money I make? I be with animals, right? So, but when you're young and impressionable by your father, you make certain decisions. So it's all good. It all worked out. But definitely, I have such a passion for animals.
Well, that was fun for me to get to know you through that, and then you actually even had an opportunity to come down to the San Diego Zoo with some of your extended family, and I was
Yes,
able to.
it was so amazing. I was so fortunate to know you because we got to do cool things. I got to pet the okapi. Is it
Yes, you met
okapi? Did I say it
copy,
right?
yeah.
Which was so soft. I thought it would be like rough like a horse, but it was like, well, horses aren't that rough, but they're soft.
They're velvety. They're kind of that they're a little bit more velvety than a horse, and sometimes a
They
little bit
are.
the touch. But yeah, they're soft.
They are. And I thought the coolest thing was like the gorillas and how they check their heart and how they come up to the cage and how they take care of them. It was so, so, so amazing.
Yeah, and it
So
was fun
amazing.
for me too because I have known you for a while at that point and knew your passion for animals. But then to see the rest of your family also have such a love and enjoyment, and it's just great. For me, someone in my world, it's really nice to experience people who maybe aren't in the animal world but have such a love and appreciation for them because it makes me feel like okay, we can do this. We have hope for our endangered species. Other people want to be involved too. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and my nephew too, Connor, he's in the army, but he wants to do something in the biology field, something with
Right.
maybe marine biology or something like that. And actually, Reagan was supposed to go to the Galapagos Islands for her semester
Oh,
abroad to do research with a professor, but then of course that got canceled. So she's pretty bummed out. But
I, I hope it gets rescheduled for her sake. What a wonderful
yeah,
trip.
yeah, I do too. I do too. But yeah, anything animal related, I'm super excited about and passionate about. I mean, my daughter is equally as like obsessed with animals like me, and And so anything, like literally snails, worms, we're saving bees in the backyard. We always take bees and we put them up on the flowers if they look like they're dying. Do
Right.
they die after a certain point? Or something? Like, it feels like we have so many bees in our backyard, but then they like start to like, they look like they're dying or something.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of that is a byproduct of what. So you'll see multi-purpose fertilizers going on plants that also have toxins in it for killing aphids or other insects that might bother the bugs. But unfortunately, it's quite possible that the bees are being exposed to it as well. And as those toxicities build up in them, they pass away. Now, they do have a lifespan. They only live so long. But one of the big challenges that we're seeing as these bee numbers do start to drop is like, how are we treating the plants in our world that these bees need to survive? And oh, by the way, we need bees so we can survive. So
I know.
yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, in retrospect, with the intention of giving the plants the best chance they can with these fertilizers and pesticides, these pesticides are causing a secondary effect that wasn't intended that now might be detrimental for us as well. So there's a lot of work going into what those adjustments need to be and what does that look like, and you know what's going on with the bees, because yeah, like you, many people are seeing them in fewer numbers and passing away.
Yeah, I mean, we don't spray any pesticides on our trees, but I don't
Well, it
know.
doesn't have to be you though. It's not that they touch your tree and they now feel sick. I mean, bees cover, you
Oh,
know,
yeah,
hundreds of
you're right.
yards. Yeah, so it's like they could be in
Here,
the
I think
soccer field.
they live at our house.
Oh, well, okay, maybe they do. I don't know. It's like a Disney princess thing, you know.
Anyway,
The bees are there. But
yeah.
anyhow, it's just great to reconnect with you. What I've been doing with this thing, this all started the week before Endangered Species Day, where I started asking people to tell me their most memorable animal encounter, because my role and many of the science communicators in a similar role as I is to kind of talk about a spiel. We introduce people to the animal, talk about some cool adaptations, what their challenges are, what you can do to help. And I think those messages are important, and we'll keep doing that. But I also recognize that the personal story, when someone gets me talking personally about an animal experience, I gush, and I can see people get sucked more into it because we recognize that human emotion. So I started asking people, just share with me your most memorable animal experience, as we head to Endangered Species Day, and we'll celebrate and we'll move on and stop doing this. But obviously, Endangered Species Day has come and gone. People are enjoying this. So I'm going to keep doing it until I have run out of people to ask that question to.
Well, I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Before I ask you that question, though,
okay.
One thing I am setting up, of course, to just kind of neutralize it for all of us, how has the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders impacted you and your family, or has it at all?
Well, I mean, look, we're together a lot. We actually got goldfish. I don't know that it's impacted us in that we can't go anywhere, you know. We
Right.
actually, oh, I'm sorry, my my daughter would like the trolls stencils that here, honey. Here are some other ones. I don't know if you sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I love it. But that's part of the answer, right? We're all working from home now, so when the kid wants something.
Yes. Well, you know, she's really obsessed with trolls right now, but she's outside. Actually, she drew portraits of our fish the other day. But we've been, I mean, you know, it's impacted us in just that we can't go anywhere and do anything. And actually, the zoo is a big part of what we do. And in our family, you know, I took her there. It was just my saving grace. I mean, it's like the best place to go. And we've done so much there, and we love to go there. So we don't get to go there. We don't get to go, you know, to the Kids Space Museum, things like that. But otherwise, we're good. It's actually forcing us to be outside and take in nature. And our teachers are actually really encouraging that too. Like, count the birds and do this and do that. So it's been fun.
Good. Well, hopefully it continues to be something that we can all make into a fun part and just survive and get through all this. I know some people it's been tough.
Yeah.
So now we're on to the question of the day.
Okay.
Can you tell me about your most memorable animal experience?
Oh, okay.
And I know it's gonna be hard to pick one.
It's really hard.
If you have time, we can tell two.
But here's another thing. You know, I was thinking about it, and I kept saying to my husband, I'm like, what would be my most memorable experience? I said, because I have a lot of things that happened to me over the years that I've forgotten how amazing that experience was when it happened. And I'm like 100 years old now, so I can't quite remember the particulars around it. Because I remember one time I lived in this apartment in LA, and they were shooting a movie nearby, and I just walked by, and there were all these monkeys in the back of a truck. And I was like, excuse me, what are these monkeys doing here? And they said, we're shooting a movie with them. And I said, oh my God, can I hold one? And I walked up and it just like jumped onto me.
Oh my
And it
gosh.
was a chimpanzee, I guess, or rather, whatever they were. I don't know if it was a chimpanzee. It was a small monkey. It was,
Either way.
oh, it was amazing. And I like that stayed with me forever. And then I'm not answering your question. I don't know what
No,
the most
but that's
memorable was, but
but
and then
this
I remember
it's
going to Costa
perfect.
Rica. I remember going to Costa Rica, and there
Okay.
were howler monkeys in the trees, and
Ooh,
seeing
yes.
iguanas on the side of the road that were like these huge, beautiful iguanas. It was insane. It blew my mind. And then I remember I was on All My Children, and we went to this place called Moat Marine Animal Sanctuary. It's in Florida, and
Okay.
they allowed us to get in with a beluga whale
Wow.
that they had rescued, and it was insane. I didn't realize how soft they are. They're like,
Mhm.
talk about velvet. They're like softer than, I mean, it was so amazing.
Yeah,
It was so
and
amazing.
to that note, they aren't slimy. People sometimes think they'd be slimy because they're in the water all the time. It's not like a fish. It's just like the
No.
super smooth, sleek skin.
Oh, it was like not even cotton. It was softer. It was just like you just were like, oh my God, it's so amazing. And and then we went swimming with the manatees in Florida, which I know it's not, that's kind of controversial to do that, but we were respectful. That was insane just to be in their environment. And they are such cool animals to me
Yeah,
because they're
gentle
so
giants.
gentle. Yeah. And just, they're just chill. And then of course the picture I sent to you. So my daughter, like I said, she's obsessed with animals. And so
Right.
we met this woman who has kind of like a traveling farm, and she loves these pets. It's not like they're not kept in cages and like
Right.
contained. They're all loved and cared for. But I mean, she brings an alpaca and a sheep, and they're buddies, and so when she brings one, she brings the other.
Well,
And
you have to.
we had so I just, for her birthday, I had these animals come, and it was like, it was so incredible. And I sent you that picture of, she's like, you can put Fable on your neck, around your neck. So I like picked her up and put her around my neck. And that was just, it was so cool to be up close and personal with an alpaca. Like, listen, I'm excited if I meet a bunny, so.
But and this is exactly the reason I love asking this question, because you have just lit up the whole time you've been telling each of these
Oh,
stories.
and
And
the sloth at the zoo that we got, I did the party at the zoo. We had the sloth, and I love sloths. I love them. I just think they're the coolest creatures. Of course, I like the slow ones, manatee and the sloth.
right.
And we fed the flamingos at the zoo, and that was an incredible experience. I've always wanted to be near an elephant. I'm obsessed with them. And so I follow all these.
Uh-oh, I think you froze up. Oh no, did we lose some internet? There you are. Okay. You left off with you love elephants.
I
Is where
love
I lost you.
elephants, and I follow like Save the Elephants. And is
Mm-hmm.
it Ray TT or Rai TT?
Uh-huh, yeah.
And they,
Ratetti. Ratetti is
Ratetti.
the one we work with quite a bit. They're a great organization.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
dying to go there.
Yeah, you really should. If they have a, I mean, I can't say enough about Kenya as it is. I've only been there once. I can't wait to go back. I was fortunate when I was there. I was there for a couple of weeks. We got to travel to different locations. I did not make it to Ratetti. I have people I work with that have been to Ratetti several times, and I see pictures and videos, and I'm like, I gotta go. It's just
I
like,
know. I
oh
know.
my gosh.
Is that they save rescue elephants, don't they? That's all
Yeah,
they do.
so for those who don't know, if you want to follow
Yeah.
Ratetti here on Instagram, they've got a great Instagram. They're an orphanage essentially for wildlife, primarily elephants, because what happens during poaching process, of course, female elephants have tusks, and in the open black market, those are of value. So females get killed also, not just the males, and then that unfortunately will orphan babies. And previously, these orphanages stepping up and doing their things and coming together, these babies would just pass away. And we're seeing a ridiculous drop, not only in the number of elephants in the wild, but we're seeing a generation that is going to have a gap now because those babies aren't making it too. So thankfully, there are a couple elephant orphanages, but they have rangers out and people know about them in the area. So if they see an orphan baby or someone that's stuck or ill or whatever, they radio in. They have a helicopter or trucks. They'll go out. They'll get it. bring them back to the orphanage with the ultimate goal being that as they raise them, these kids, when they get old enough, will be sort of a patchwork herd that will be introduced to another herd and then continue out in the wild as they should as they get older. So
someone just asked what was I think it's at Retity. How do you call it?
Yeah, but I don't remember because I think their handle has dots between some of the letters. But I believe it's RETIE or EI.
or EI.
Yeah, anybody who's asking what that is, as soon as we're done here in my stories, I will post a link to them or post their handle so you can find them.
Well, maybe you can answer this question because I was following them the other day, and they had this little video of one of their orphan elephants had come in and hadn't made any friends and was like kind of alone and had been, I think, almost mauled to death, but the mom wasn't around. So anyway, we went and made a friend with this other one, and now they just follow each other everywhere. And my question to them was, and they didn't answer, was, will they release them together? Like if they become really close, because aren't elephants so social? Like they
Right. Yes, they are. And so to my knowledge, that would be the goal of I can't speak for them on that. I don't know what their long range plan would be on that. What I do know about their way of releasing, though, is they do purposely put together groups of elephants and raise them as much as possible together and have them interact as much together. So when it comes time to go back out into the wild, they have that little makeshift herd. I would assume, unless there's a major age gap between those two, that those two would end up growing up together and going out together. And we're talking years, though. This is not something that happens in a year or two. Elephants usually don't break away from their own herd until they're 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. So this orphanage is a long-term project. As they bring in more babies, it's not like, okay, they're healthy, they're better, see you later. It's they raise them, they socialize them, they take them out into the wild to have them understand this is where you feed from, this is how you find water. It is a very long process. So once they get through that process with those two, it's hard to say, what the dynamics will be, but I would assume that would be their goal if they're still socially bonded.
Cool. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It really is amazing.
What else do you want to talk about?
Well, I remember, when you were at the San Diego Zoo with me and we're showing you around, we talked about your love for elephants and rhinos and all of that. And, I can't say enough about how much I enjoy seeing other people's passion about those animals come through. And I mean, this is selfish, but this is why I do it, because I get to see people kind of just ooze that love and excitement for animals. So, I mean, we have a couple more minutes. If you want to tell another story, I won't stop you.
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So are you at the zoo now? Do you go to the zoo often, or because of the quarantine, because of this pandemic?
Yeah, well, the pandemic changed everything. So mid-March March 16th is when we had to close the doors to the zoo and the safari park. And I work at both facilities. And that moment, we were about 6 weeks into filming the second season of our Animal Planet show, the Zoo San Diego, and I'm the coordinator for that. So not only am I on the show occasionally, but I'm also coordinating all the film days and what we're doing with which teams win and making it all happen. So super busy, and then all of a sudden not. And the week we closed, we tried to work it okay, because we didn't have a full understanding of what the restrictions would be in the state of California. So we're like, okay, well, here's all the safety measures we need to take as a camera crew. We'll keep filming until we're told we can't. I think that lasted 3 days. And then by, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, it was decided we had to stop filming.
Yeah.
And so at this point now, I do go in on Mondays, sometimes Tuesdays, and definitely on Fridays to do social media with our social media team, because with the closure, it's the only way we can really stay in touch with our members and guests and our audience, who we have found too, my goodness, our online cams have just gone through the roof on viewership. I think it's like over 4,000 or 6,000% increase on our animal cams.
Wow.
Because everyone's stuck at home. And so even teachers are saying, hey, click on this link and write down what you observed the giraffe doing as part of their science for kids. So
are you finding that the animals are acting differently? Because I read about those the pandas that
yeah, I don't know about that story. It seems a little sketchy, but it's a good story.
Was it like Hong Kong or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know where, but I read that. I was like, really?
That they made it because they hadn't made it in so many years, and then they did, but no one was around, right?
Right, exactly.
Do you want to take questions from anybody that's like signed in, or?
Well, I have a limited amount of time because I've got other things I've got to get to.
Oh, okay.
Shortly after 1:30. So I do want to ask you one thing though, but to answer your question you asked, the first week, I would say going through the zoo, I could tell some species did notice that it was a little bit different. Like especially the orangutans and gorillas who they have that glass. So they love to people watch. It's funny. People are always like, oh, animals being stared at the zoo. I'm like, no, no, no. They're watching you. You are entertaining for them. And they definitely noticed.
Yeah. Oh, we
So when
love that.
someone would walk by, they were like, oh, a person. Hey, what you doing? And so it was very different that instead of them just kind of casually watching people go by, they were like, oh, a person. But that was probably by the second week, I think that kind of faded. You know, I think in general, animals are very in tune to their environment, just from my experience of working with them for so long. So I definitely do not doubt that all of the animals recognize there are fewer people, but I don't think it's really impacted them. We're observing normal behaviors, normal activities. They're going about their usual day as if not much has changed. Now, what, 9-10 weeks into it, for them, this is normal now. So, you know, when we start inviting guests and members back in, I'm sure we'll see another, like, oh, people, you know, and haven't seen them in a while. So we'll see what happens.
That's so cool.
One thing I want to address before we go, because I'm going to have to wrap it up soon, but I heard somebody was nominated for something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gus, tell me about this.
Well, you know, I was let go from General Hospital, and they had me come back for just like a minute, and when I came back for that 5 months or whatever, they wrote a great story, and I submitted it, and I got nominated. I actually forgot about it, and because, you know, as you know, you have 2 kids, one, I can't remember.
Well, yeah, yes, yeah. And one at home, the other one's all grown up and moved out. So
right. So with Charlotte, you know, and plus with the pandemic, I've just been so busy trying to like school her a little bit and play with her. And I have an only child, so it's not, you know, everyone said everyone has their own issues. Like I have an only child, so she has no one to play with. But if I had 2, I'd probably be pulling my hair out too. So, but anyway, so I got a call from my friend Alicia, and she was like, "You got nominated," and I was like, "What?" So,
for what?
You know, I forgot that
right.
I'd been off the show since October, I think, of last year, or November of last year, maybe November. So it's really cool. It's nice because, you know, it's the consolation prize for not being on the show anymore.
Right. Well, and it's well deserved. You know, I know you have a lot of fans. I see a lot of people saying congratulations right now in the feed and everything else. And when you posted about the nomination, you know, everyone commenting on that too. So I'm very happy for you. And
but as you know, like you're only as good as the people that you're in scenes with, really.
It's
and
true.
So it's like half of it I feel like I should be giving to Michael Easton and my little girl that played my little girl JoJo. They're just like the most lovely human beings. And actually, Michael Easton, he plays Finn. Finn has a bearded dragon on the show, and one time I had to pick up the bearded dragon. Now I was a little nervous. Remember how nervous I was with the porcupine you brought? I was pretty nervous to pick up that bearded dragon because they're very sensitive. Just pick him right up and put him right here, and he'll just like hang on to you. Right. Like, okay. And I did it. But
well, good for you.
It's pretty cool. I did like that we had a bearded dragon. It was pretty fun.
Very good.
Really cute.
Well, I always like to wrap up with,
okay,
and it might be a left field question for you, and you just feel it however you want, because it's mostly it comes from my line of work, and again, because it's all started with leading into Endangered Species Day. The question is along the lines of, what message would you give to someone who said to you, you know, what can I do to save endangered species, or I'm only one person, what can I do for conservation? I know you have floated this idea and thought in your head before because you love animals so much. And we've kind of talked before in the past about, you know, what one person can do. But what message would you have for your fans and followers, or anybody else who's watching this? What could they do to maybe do something for wildlife, for conservation?
Well, I think every little bit helps. You know, I think that it's kind of amazing. Like you learn a lot of different things. Like when you go to the zoo, like I learned that my old cell phone could help gorillas. And so, you know, just by recycling it and by turning that in. So there's like little things you can do. And always people are like, you know, I don't have much to give. And I always, and you wouldn't believe like $10 or $5 adds up to like a lot of money. If you can't actually go and be a part of something, that you can donate or, get involved and see what people need. And, I don't know. I guess that's what I would say. Be kind to the planet.
No, exactly. And you bring up 2 very good points. A lot of people don't realize how much our current technology, our iPads, our phones, our touchscreen laptops, a lot of the minerals in there that allow that technology to do what it does comes from areas that currently have wildlife that are endangered, and they're strip mined. It's not a nice little like hole in the ground and someone goes down there and digs it up. They wash away that land to find those minerals. And when that land is washed away, they're washing away the topsoil. So once they're done mining that space, nothing will grow there. It's now completely vacant with no opportunity for anything to grow because there's no nutrients there for anything to grow. And so we've lost that topsoil. So the simple act of recycling that old technology, whether you recycle it the day you buy a new one, or if there's something in your drawer from days past, there are places to drop that off and recycle it. Your local zoo is a great place. Most every zoo has a drop-off point for cell phone recycling. Yeah. And it makes a difference. It truly is impactful for gorillas and okapis and other species that live in those dense rainforests in the Congo, along sort of the equatorial part of Africa that is a jungle. So yes, thank you for bringing that up. And then to your other point, every little bit does count. And sometimes we forget, you know, a dollar here, a dollar there over time adds up. Well, you know, I always offer to people, it's like, you know, think about it. If everybody in your neighborhood every day gave you $1 in your mailbox, you know, by the end of the year, how many thousands of dollars would you have? So same thing. It may not be every neighbor giving $1 or $5 to a conservation organization, but you giving a little bit, someone else giving a little bit across the nation, across the world does add up and allow them to do some amazing work for wildlife. So thank you for bringing those points up.
Yeah, and also, like, you know, when you follow these different, like, I can't say it. Ratiti or whatever.
Ratetti, yeah.
Ratetti, or Save the Elephants or something. You know, things come up, charities come up, and you go like, oh my God, that's a cool T-shirt. I want to buy it, and all that money goes. Yeah. I mean, just following those people and being aware, I think you learn a lot. And you know, going to the zoo, like I never knew about recycling my phone, and I said to my husband, like, we got to recycle this stuff, like, so we got to take it to the zoo because they have the drop off. You know, you never know where to take this stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. Anyway.
And if you don't have a local zoo in your area, somebody watching it's like, well, that's great, but I don't have a zoo in my area.
Right.
Get online, Google it. You know, places nearby to recycle a cell phone, and it will make a difference. It really does. It's worth the extra effort, and that way you don't have to worry about the clutter in your drawer or anything like that. So it works out.
Charlotte, this is zookeeper Rick. He's up from the San Diego Zoo. Charlotte,
Charlotte, I need you to convince your mom to come down and visit me.
Oh, we're gonna come visit, right? Oh, she wants me to show you. She drew the trolls today. I don't know if you've seen Trolls World Tour, but this is Barb.
I have not seen World Tour yet, but I've seen the first. I love it.
Branch.
I know Poppy and Branch from the first one, from the first movie. Thank you, Charlotte.
We've been listening to that music nonstop.
Over and over.
Yeah.
All right, Rebecca. Well,
anyway,
thank you so much. I have to wrap it up. I have another appointment I got to get to, but thank you.
I know you're a busy guy.
And anybody who's left a bunch of questions in there, I have learned the hard way that once this gets saved in Instagram TV, all the stuff you've written, all the questions you've written go away. So if you do have something you want answered about animals or whatever, feel free to drop it in the comments of Instagram TV once it's posted in about an hour. And we'll have to catch up again sometime very soon, Rebecca, okay?
Okay, yes. Thank you. Take care.
All right, you too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that was fun. I haven't seen Rebecca in quite a while, so it was very nice to see her and catch up with her. I hope you all enjoyed her stories. I love seeing people's faces light up like that when they talk about animals. And that's been one of the big joys of my job, presenting animals at the zoo or on TV shows like Rebecca was on, or wherever I may go, because I get to see their faces light up when they see it. But there is something special about making that connection in person with an animal, as the series here that I've been doing, the shows that I've been doing are showing us, and even Rebecca talking about all her multiple times coming across animals and falling in love with them, getting so excited about them. So I hope for you, as we make it through this pandemic and as life moves on, you think about the wildlife around you, the birds in your trees, wherever it may be, or even go to your local zoo and support and seek out those opportunities to reconnect to nature, because it is clearly something very important for us. So with that, I will simply sign off and say, have a good one, everybody, and stay well.
Oh.